Hey, how's it going? This is the SSAT compared to the ISEE. They're both, if you're taking the upper level version, they're both used to get into high schools. And they both have a very similar structure. The only real difference is that the ISEE has a math achievement section at the end, but otherwise they line up really nice. I've color coded them, and I'm going to show you why. Because even though they're very comparable tests, if you have different skills, you might want to take one test compared to the other. So looking at the verbal section, they both have synonyms. Where they are different is that the SSAT has analogies, where you have to compare one relationship of words to another pair of words. And in the ISEE, they have sentence completion, where it's a sentence and a fill in the blank. What word would best go here? You're given a lot of context clues to figure out what word it is. Alternatively, in the SSAT, the vocabulary is a lot harder. You might come across archaic words and words that are a little bit above your grade level. With the ISEE, generally a lot of it is inside your grade level. Looking at the quantitative sections, so in the ISEE and the SSAT, they both test your math knowledge. Do you know how variables work? Do you know how the area works of shapes? And they're both going to test that. In the SSAT, you're going to have your multiple step problems, which is what you're used to seeing for a math section. They give you the radius of a circle, find the circumference. You're going to have to do a couple steps of math to get there. In the quantitative section of the ISEE, they have comparisons, what they call quantitative comparisons, where they'll give you one thing and another thing, like x squared and x to the third, and they'll ask you which one is greater. You'll either choose one thing, the other thing, or you'll say they're the same value, or you'll say it's impossible to determine which one is of greater value. And these can get a little tricky because they like to throw a lot of curveballs in you in this section. That's why I have it marked in red. This quantitative section is a little bit more difficult than the SSATs. Going to the reading section, the ISEE first, a lot of modern type of writing, style of writing. And the topics are assortive. They're actually kind of interesting topics. There's a lot of current affairs and history and just really, really interesting stuff. Whereas the SSAT, you're going to get older passages like a ship's log or like, something of that nature, an old diary entry. And you could also get science passages written by scientific-like people and poetry. So if you do a lot of reading, if your reading comprehension is high, this is an opportunity for you to show off that you really know what you're doing. In the ISEE, it's a little bit better for people who are not as experienced or are not as confident with their reading comprehension. The ISEE then has this extra section called Math Achievement, and this has the multi-step problems like the quantitative section on the SSAT. You'll have problems where they give you the radius and have you find the circumference of the area. Where this is different is that the grade level is very high on a lot of these problems. There's going to be some really advanced stuff that you may haven't had a lot of experience dealing with. And because of it, this makes this section really difficult. And if you are strong in math and confident in math and it's something you love doing, this might be an opportunity for you to do really well compared to your peers who might not be as comfortable. So breaking down the test, the pattern kind of becomes obvious that the SSAT is built for people who are stronger verbally. The math section isn't as hard. I mean, it's a long. There's only one math section. It's a long one, but there's two full sections of verbal skills. So if your verbal skills are strong and math isn't your forte, SSAT. Alternatively, the ISEE. The verbal sections are a little bit easier, right? A little bit easier to read and a little bit easier to find the word. Where it is difficult is the math sections. So if you consider yourself a math person, the ISEE might be the test for you. Of course, I'll give you the disclaimer, take practice tests of both, and then whatever one you do better in. But if you're looking to only take one, this might be a good guide to see which one you should pick, because high schools generally don't care. You should always check, but high schools generally don't care. What is ungraded in both of these is the essay. So you write an essay and it gets sent to the high school. They just want to get to know how you write, how you think, what your opinions are, things of that nature. And the SSAT has a experimental section, so they can see if you know how to figure certain questions out. It's not graded. So whatever. This is what's graded, and this is what your score is based off of, these sections. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of what tests you should be taking. In the future, I'm going to be helping you guys out with the math parts of the ISEE because this is the most difficult section. And then later on, I'm going to go and help with the verbal sections of the SSAT, the most difficult sections. And of course, I'm always here to answer questions. So if you have anything of that nature, you can shoot me a comment or whatever. Good luck with your studying.